My love, there are things I have carried in my heart for years. Words I meant to say on a Tuesday morning when you were rushing out the door. Feelings I planned to express on some perfect evening that never quite arrived. And I realize now, after all this time, that the perfect moment was never coming. So tonight, I am sitting here, quietly, in the soft light of this room that has held so much of our life. And I am finally going to say it all, every single word, because you deserve to hear it. And because some love is so deep, so woven into the fabric of who you are, that it quietly becomes the most important story of your life, even if you never found the right words to tell it properly. This is my story, our story. And it begins, as most true love stories do, not with fireworks, not with grand declarations beneath a starlit sky, but with something far more powerful than that. It begins with a feeling, that quiet, certain, almost frightening feeling that the person standing in front of you has somehow, in some way you cannot yet explain, become essential to your life. You became essential to mine. And today, after all the years and all the seasons and all the ordinary and extraordinary moments that have passed between us, I want to tell you exactly what that has meant. I want to walk through our life together, slowly, tenderly, and let you hear what I have felt in every chapter of it. Because real love, I have learned, is not just a feeling you hold inside. Real love is something you must eventually say out loud. So sit with me for a little while. I have a great deal to tell you. I remember the first time I truly saw you, not the first time we met. That was different. That was ordinary. Two people crossing paths the way people do, with polite smiles and unremarkable conversation. But the first time I truly saw you, the way you looked when you thought no one was watching, the way your face changed when you were listening to something you cared about, the particular quality of your attention when the world had your full focus. That moment stayed with me long after it passed. I found myself thinking about you in the quiet spaces of my day, not in an anxious or dramatic way, just gently. The way you think about a piece of music you heard somewhere and can't quite place. Something in it that you know, even before you understand why, that you need to hear again. I have read a great deal about love in my life. I have read Pablo Neruda, whose poems felt like someone had climbed inside the human heart and reported back from the inside. I have read Rainer Maria Rilke, who wrote that love consists of this: two solitudes that meet, protect, and greet each other. I have read Jane Austen, who understood that the quiet attentions of a good person are more romantic than any sweeping gesture. And I have read all of it, admired all of it, been moved by all of it. And then I met you, and I understood that no poem, no novel, no letter ever written had quite managed to describe the actual feeling. Because the actual feeling is too specific. It belongs only to you and to the person you love. It cannot be borrowed or translated. It is entirely, irreversibly your own. What I felt when I began to fall in love with you was mine. It was ours. And it was unlike anything I had read about, even though I had read about all of it. I remember being afraid of it too. Love, when it is real, is frightening. Not in a bad way, in the way that standing at the edge of something vast and beautiful is frightening. You feel the size of it. You feel what it would cost you to step back. And you also feel, somewhere deep beneath the fear, that stepping back is simply not something you are capable of doing anymore. I could not step back from you. I did not want to. And so the falling began, quietly, gradually, as completely as seasons change. People talk about falling in love as though it is always loud, as though it announces itself with racing hearts and sleepless nights and the inability to think about anything else. And yes, some of that was true. Some of that was very true. There were nights when the thought of you sat in the center of my chest like a warm, glowing thing that I couldn't quite contain. But mostly, falling in love with you felt like coming home to a place I hadn't known I was looking for. It felt like a kind of settling, like all the restless searching of the years before you, all the quiet wondering about whether the life I wanted was something I would actually find, had finally, gently come to rest. Elizabeth Barrett Browning once wrote, in what I believe to be one of the most honest love poems in the English language, "How do I love thee? Let me count the ways." She wrote of loving someone to the depth and breadth and height her soul could reach. She wrote of loving someone with the breath, smiles, and tears of all her life. And I used to read that poem as a young woman and think, is it possible to actually feel something that expansive? Can any real human heart hold that much? I know now that it can. I know because mine did, mine does. Loving you grew in me the way roots grow, invisibly, slowly, deeper and deeper, until one day you realize that the tree is so firmly planted it could not be moved by any storm. I loved you before I fully understood that I loved you. That is how quietly it happened. That is how completely. And when I finally acknowledged it to myself in the private honesty of a quiet moment, it did not feel like a revelation. It felt like recognition, like looking in a mirror and finally seeing clearly what had always been there. There you were, and there I was. And somehow between the two of us, something had grown that neither of us had planned, and both of us had needed more than we knew. I want to talk about something that I think very few people discuss honestly when they talk about love. And that is this. Love, real love, is not something that happens to you once and then simply continues on its own. Real love is a choice, a daily, ongoing, sometimes quiet, and sometimes difficult choice. We live in a time that romanticizes the beginning of love and almost entirely ignores what comes after. The movies end at the wedding. The love songs are all about falling. But what about staying? What about the 10,000th morning? What about the argument that seemed small and turned enormous, and the long silence afterward that you weren't sure how to break? What about the years when life pressed hard against both of you, and you were each carrying weight that the other couldn't see, and still, you kept choosing each other? That is the part of love that deserves more songs. I have thought often about Leo Tolstoy, whose novel Anna Karenina opens with the observation that all happy families are alike, but every unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. I always found that idea interesting because I think it gets something almost right and almost wrong at the same time. I think what Tolstoy was really pointing at is that happiness in love is not the absence of difficulty. Happy love is love that has faced its difficulties and chosen again and again to remain. We have chosen again and again to remain. Do you know what I consider some of the most romantic moments of my life? Not the grand ones, though those were beautiful. The most romantic moments of my life are the small, private ones that no one else has ever seen. The time I was sick and you brought me soup without being asked and sat with me in the quiet of the afternoon not saying anything, just being there. And I looked at you from across the room and felt so loved that my eyes filled with tears I didn't let you see. The time we disagreed, really disagreed about something that mattered to both of us, and you listened. You actually listened, not to win, but to understand. And I thought, this is a rare man. This is a good man. This is the kind of person who will actually grow with me, not just beside me. The morning, and there have been hundreds of these mornings, when I woke before you and lay still for a moment just watching you sleep, watching the quiet rise and fall of your breathing, and felt the particular peace of knowing that this is my life, that you are in it, and that I am exactly where I am supposed to be. These are the moments I would put in a museum if I could. These are the moments that constitute the real fabric of a life lived in love. Throughout the centuries, human beings have tried to capture what it feels like to love someone deeply, and the attempts are beautiful even when they fall short, which they always do slightly, because love is a living thing and words are the best approximation we have. The great Russian poet Alexander Pushkin wrote of a love so consuming it transformed everything around it. John Keats, dying young and knowing it, wrote letters to Fanny Brawne that are almost unbearable in their tenderness. Letters in which he confessed that he could not be happy away from her, that she was the only thing that could give him any comfort. He wrote, "I cannot exist without you." And you can feel in those words the absolute truth of them, not the drama, the truth. Victor Hugo, in Les Miserables, gave us Cosette and Marius, a love so pure and overwhelming that Marius told her she was the heaven he wanted to walk into. And Cosette, who had known so little tenderness in her short life, bloomed under that love the way a plant turns toward light. Because that is what love does. It turns you toward light. It makes you capable of things you didn't know you had in you. I have bloomed in your love. I want you to know that. I have become more fully myself because of how you have loved me, because you believed in things in me that I hadn't yet learned to believe in myself, because you held space for who I was becoming, not just who I was, because you chose me again and again in ways large and small, visible and invisible, and that choosing told me something about my own worth that no one else's words had ever quite communicated. There is a concept in Japanese culture called kintsugi, the art of repairing broken pottery with gold, making the cracks part of the beauty rather than something to be hidden. The philosophy behind it is that something that has been broken and repaired is more beautiful, more valuable, more interesting than something that has never been broken at all. I think about that when I think about us, about the cracks we have both carried, the wounds from before we found each other, and the ones that life brought us afterward, and how, over the years, we have helped each other mend, not perfectly, not always smoothly, but always with care, always with the gold of genuine love running through every repair. We are kintsugi. We are more beautiful for all of it. My love, I want to tell you about the ordinary moments, because I think this is the part of love that gets the least attention and deserves the most. I want to tell you about the kitchen, the way I can measure our life together in kitchen moments. The early years when we were learning how to share a space and bumped into each other constantly, laughing at ourselves, making terrible meals with great enthusiasm. The middle years when we moved around each other with the easy choreography of people who know exactly where the other person will be, no words needed. The mornings when you made coffee and I could tell by the sound of the cups exactly what kind of morning you were having. The evenings when dinner was just an excuse to sit across from each other and talk, really talk, in the unhurried way that people do when they are completely comfortable in the company they are keeping. I want to tell you about the drives, the long ones, the purposeless ones, the ones we took because one of us was sad or restless and needed to be in motion, the ones where we talked for hours, and the ones where we drove in comfortable silence for stretches so long that when one of us finally spoke, it felt like waking from a dream. I want to tell you about the books we have recommended to each other, the movies we have argued about affectionately, the songs that became ours without us deciding they would be, the inside jokes that have been running so long that we no longer remember where they started, the shorthand we have developed, the look across a room that says everything, the half sentence I don't need to finish because you already know the rest. These are the textures of a shared life. These are the things that cannot be replicated, cannot be manufactured, cannot be replaced. These are the things I would trade nothing in the world for. Khalil Gibran wrote in The Prophet, "Let there be spaces in your togetherness. Fill each other's cup, but do not drink from one cup." And I understand what he meant. I understand the importance of two people remaining whole and separate, even as they are also deeply joined. But I also want to say something that Gibran perhaps left unsaid, that there is a particular, irreplaceable joy in the sharing, in the drinking together, in the life that belongs to neither of you alone, but to both of you at once. I love the life that belongs to both of us at once. I love that there are stories I could not tell without your name in them. I love that there are memories I can only access through you. The way certain rooms of a house only make sense when you are standing in them together. I love that you are so woven into my life, that to imagine it without you is to imagine an entirely different life, one I would not choose. I choose this one, I choose you. I would not be telling the truth if I spoke only of the beautiful parts, and I want to tell you the truth, because you deserve nothing less. There were hard years, you know which ones I mean. The years when life asked more of us than we thought we had, when circumstances pressed against us and we were both depleted, both frightened, both carrying grief or worry or exhaustion that we didn't always know how to share. There were times when we were not our best selves with each other, when we were impatient or sharp or so consumed by our own interior storms that we could not see the storm the other person was navigating. There were times when we felt, each of us, the particular loneliness of being with someone who cannot quite reach you in that moment. The hardest loneliness, because it sits right next to love. I want to acknowledge all of that honestly, because I think the most important thing I have learned about love, the thing I wish someone had told me earlier, is that the hard seasons are not the failure of love. They are the test of it. And passing the test does not mean never struggling. It means struggling together. It means choosing, in the middle of the difficulty, to reach toward each other rather than away. I think of Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera, one of history's most complex and passionate love stories. A love that was tender and turbulent and consuming in equal measure. They married, separated, remarried, and spent their lives circling each other with a pull that neither of them could resist or fully resolve. Frida once said, "I tried to drown my sorrows, but the bastards learned how to swim." And I think about the sorrows and the joys and the impossible complications of loving someone deeply in a real and flawed and human life. Our love has been nothing like theirs. We have had far more peace than turbulence, and I am grateful for that. But I understand something of what she meant. I understand that when you love someone truly, even the painful parts of that love are saturated with life in a way that the absence of love simply is not. I would rather struggle with you than coast without you. I would rather navigate the hard terrain of a real and meaningful love than live comfortably on the surface of something that demands nothing. You have demanded everything of me in the best possible sense. You have asked me to be honest, to be present, to grow, to keep choosing even when choosing was difficult. And I have grown in response to that. I have become more because of it. And in the hard years, the years when we were both tired and the road ahead seemed uncertain, there was always this, you, still there, still choosing, still in this with me. And that steadiness, that faithfulness, was the most reassuring thing I have ever known. Do you know how rare that is? Do you know how many people have never had that? To know, truly, deeply, confidently know, that the person who chose you yesterday will also choose you tomorrow? That there is someone in the world whose commitment to you is not dependent on everything being easy or beautiful or convenient. You have given me that certainty, and I have tried, I hope I have managed, to give it back to you. After all these years, after everything we have been through together, the joy and the grief, the ease and the difficulty, the ordinary and the extraordinary, I find myself understanding love in a way I could not have imagined when I was young, and I want to share that understanding with you. Love, I have learned, is not primarily a feeling. It is a practice. It is something you do. Every day in dozens of small ways, you practice love. You practice attention, really seeing the person in front of you, not just looking. You practice patience, giving the person you love the grace they need in the moments when they cannot give it to themselves. You practice honesty, saying the hard thing when it needs to be said, and finding the courage to be vulnerable when vulnerability is what the moment requires. You practice forgiveness. This one is perhaps the most important and the most difficult. To love someone over a lifetime is to be hurt by them, because intimacy creates the conditions for hurt. The question is not whether you will be hurt. The question is what you do with it. And I have watched couples, friends, family members, people I admired and people I pitied, and the single greatest determining factor in whether a love lasts and deepens is not passion or compatibility or circumstance. It is the capacity for forgiveness, the willingness to return again and again to a place of grace. We have forgiven each other many times, and each act of forgiveness has added something to the foundation of what we have built, not weakened it, strengthened it. Because forgiveness is not the erasure of something difficult, it is the transformation of it. It is taking the raw material of hurt and choosing to build something better with it instead. I've also learned that love, at its most mature, is not about need. In the beginning of love, there is often a quality of hunger, a longing, a reaching, a feeling that you cannot quite be complete without the other person. And that hunger is beautiful, and it is real, and I would not trade the memory of it. But the love that has lasted, the love that has grown, this love is not hunger. It is something more like sunlight. It is warm and constant and sustaining and so present that you forget to notice it until something reminds you, and then you are overwhelmed by gratitude all over again. I am overwhelmed by gratitude when I think of you, when I think of all the years you have been the sunlight in my life, not always dramatic, not always spectacular, but always there, warm, constant, essential. I have also learned, and this is the thing I most wish I had understood earlier, that love must be spoken. The people we love most are often the ones we tell the least, because we assume they know because we have been with them long enough that the telling seems almost redundant. But it is never redundant. It is never unnecessary. The person you love needs to hear it regularly, specifically, not in the abstract, I love you, but in the particular, I love the way you do this. I noticed that. I am grateful for that. You matter to me in this specific way. So that is what I am doing today. I am telling you specifically. I am telling you all of it. My love, here are the things I most want you to know. I want you to know that you have made me feel, for the whole of the time we have been together, genuinely loved. Not just tolerated, not just cared for out of obligation, genuinely, warmly, specifically loved, as myself, with all of my particular qualities, the ones that are easy to love and the ones that require more patience. You have loved me as a whole person, and that is a gift whose full size I am not sure I can measure. I want you to know that watching you be who you are has been one of the great pleasures of my life. The way you approach the world, your particular kindness, your way of thinking about things, the qualities you bring to every room you enter. I could watch that forever and never stop being glad of it. You are a genuinely good person, and I say that not because I love you, but because it is simply, observably true. You are good in the way that some people are. Not perfectly, not without contradictions, but fundamentally at the core. I want you to know that the life we have built together is the life I would choose, given every other possible life to choose from. I have thought about this often, in the quiet moments when life prompts reflection, and the answer is always the same. This life, you, this, again and again. I want you to know that the ways you have shown up for me over the years, some of which you may not even remember, some of which you may not have realized I noticed, have stayed with me. They live in me. They are part of what I am made of now. You are part of what I am made of. And I mean that not in a way that makes me less myself, but in a way that makes me more. I want you to know that I have never once, not in the worst moments, not in the hardest years, not in the times when life was heavy and my heart was tired, I have never once regretted choosing you. Not for a single moment. I want you to know that growing older with you is not something I experience as loss. I experience it as depth, as richness, as the particular beauty of a life that has been fully lived. There is something in the face of someone you have loved for a long time that you could never see in a younger face. The history, the story, the accumulated, lived experience that is written there. I see our life when I look at you, and it is one of the most beautiful things I have ever seen. I want you to know that when I imagine the future, whatever shape the future takes, I imagine it with you in it. That has not changed. That will not change. Throughout history, there have been love stories that captured the world's imagination precisely because of their completeness, their willingness to go all the way, to give everything. And I have always been drawn to the ones that lasted, not the dramatic ones that burned bright and ended suddenly, but the ones that simply kept going, year after year, adapting and deepening and surviving. I think of Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward, who were married for 50 years until his death in 2008. In an era when Hollywood marriages were famous for their brevity, they built something that lasted, a quiet, real, faithful love that both of them spoke about with consistent warmth. When Paul Newman was once asked how he had stayed faithful in the tempting world of film stardom, he said something that has always stayed with me. Why would I go out for hamburger when I have steak at home? It is a rather unglamorous metaphor for something very beautiful. The idea that what he had with Joanne was so entirely satisfying, so completely what he wanted, that nothing else even registered as temptation. I think of Frédéric Chopin and his letters to his family, the music he poured into compositions that carried his emotions because his body was too fragile to carry them otherwise. I think of C.S. Lewis, the great rationalist, who fell in love late in life with Joy Davidman, and found, to his own surprise, that love was not the soft, comfortable thing he had expected, but rather the most demanding and rewarding experience of his life. After Joy died, he wrote, A Grief Observed, one of the most honest accounts of love and loss ever written. And in it he described grief not as the opposite of love, but as love with nowhere left to go. Her absence is like the sky, he wrote, spread over everything. That image has never left me. Love that is like the sky, everywhere, surrounding everything, so pervasive that its presence becomes the atmosphere of your life. That is what lasting love becomes, I think. Not a moment, not an event, an atmosphere. You have been my atmosphere. You have been the sky over everything. And I think of the countless ordinary couples who never became famous love stories. The husband and wife in a small house somewhere who sat together at the kitchen table every morning for 60 years. The woman who learned to love gardening because her husband loved it. And the man who learned to love music because his wife loved it. And both of them who became larger and more textured people because of how their lives had grown together. These are the love stories that don't get written down, but they are the ones that shape the world most quietly and most permanently. We are one of those stories, and I am proud of that. My love, as I come toward the end of everything I have been wanting to say, I find myself thinking about what I hope you carry with you. Not just today, while my words are still fresh, but always. I hope you carry the knowledge that you have been loved well, that whatever the world has said or not said about your worth, in this house, in this life, in the heart of the person who chose you, you have been loved well, fully, faithfully, gratefully. I hope you carry the confidence that comes from being truly known by someone who has stayed. To be truly known is one of the rarest gifts in human life. Most people spend their lives showing others only the best, most curated version of themselves, the version that is easiest to love. You have shown me all of it, all the versions, the ones you are proud of and the ones you find harder to live with. And I have seen all of it, and I have stayed, and I have loved you, not despite the wholeness of who you are, but because of it. I hope you carry, somewhere always, the memory of the good days, the days that were uncomplicated and warm, when the world was gentle and we were simply happy, not dramatically, not spectacularly, just quietly, fully happy in the ordinary beauty of our shared life. Hold those days close. They are yours. They are real. They happened, and nothing can unhappen them. I hope you carry the knowledge that you have not been alone in this, in the great and difficult adventure of a human life. That whatever comes next, whatever you face it with the knowledge of having been deeply, completely companioned. That is not nothing, that is everything. And I hope you carry my love, not as something heavy or obligating, as something warm, as the background warmth of knowing that there is someone in the world to whom you matter beyond all measuring. Someone who has watched you from across the breakfast table and from across the room at parties and from across the years and decades of a life, and who has looked at you every single time with the same fundamental recognition. There you are, my person. There you are, my love. I began by telling you that I had been carrying words for years that I hadn't found the right moment to say. And I think the truth is that there is no right moment. There is only the courage to speak and the love that makes the speaking worthwhile. You have given me a life more beautiful than anything I dreamed for myself when I was young and hadn't yet met you. You have given me a love that I did not know was possible until I had it. The kind of love that makes everything else make more sense. The kind of love that shows you over and over what really matters. What really matters is this. What really matters is you. What really matters is the fact that I have had the extraordinary privilege, and it is an extraordinary privilege, even if it has sometimes felt ordinary, of walking through life with someone I love and who loves me back. That is the whole thing, isn't it? That is the whole of it. I am grateful. I am grateful beyond what I have the words for, which is why I have spent all this time trying to find them anyway. Because some things are so important that they deserve your best attempt, even if the attempt falls short. So here's my best attempt. Here is everything I have been wanting to say. I love you. I choose you. I am glad, deeply, completely, wholeheartedly glad that it was you, today and tomorrow and always. If these words found their way to something quiet inside you, if they touched something you recognize, something you felt yourself, I want you to leave one word in the comments. Just one word. The word is forever. If you felt this, if you lived this, if this love, this real, faithful, beautiful, ordinary, extraordinary love is something you know, leave the word forever below. Because love like this deserves to be witnessed, and you deserve to be seen. Thank you for spending this time with me. This is Softale, and all of this was for you.